That's what I do with my family members, and that's how you. If you're a prisoner and you're trying to study a certain subject, you need the latest books on that subject material, and to ban your family members from sending that in is it's terrible. It really is. So that needs to be reversed. And all he's doing is appealing to the tough on crime brigade to get more votes. He doesn't care about prisoners. He just wants to get re-elected. Yeah.
What do you think about prisoners that have come out of prison after serving their sentences, they're supposedly rehabilitated, when they come out, even though they've committed rather heinous crimes such as rape, they've gone back to the previous life, like the case of Jed Evans. How do you feel about the way people sort of said, well, it's unfair, he should go back to his previous life in any way, and basically rehabilitate himself, even though he's all along said he's innocent in one way or the other, because that's nothing to do with me. But how do you think we should treat prisoners when they've actually come out of prison? Because there's been a very mixed view in this country. So
how should we treat rapists who get out, don't rehabilitate and commit more crimes? Is that what you're asking?
No, what I'm saying is, should we treat these people better within society and within the media, rather than the way some people have jumped on one side of the bandwagon and jumped? Because in other words, he's nowhere to go now. He can't go back to his previous life as a footballer.
Right.
I'm talking in general now, because basically nobody wants him in that area. But yeah,
okay.
People who he was originally employed by want to take him back.
So the problem of getting back into society when you've got a criminal record, is that the question?
The question is what do you feel? Do you feel people should be given a better view when they come out of prison, even though they have committed heinous crimes? Do you think the public should be more fair, or do you think that it's fair as it is?
Okay, traditionally, if you go back hundreds, if not thousands of years, crime has been considered murder, theft and rape. And people like that, I believe, should be locked up for as long as possible. And I thought that was the bulk of the prison population, but it's not. If you're murdering someone, if you're raping a child, if you're causing that kind of chaos on society, these guys need to be in prison for as long as possible. But most of the prison population, it's drug offences, it's people who've got addiction issues, it's people who've robbed to feed their addiction. That section of society, they need to be rehabilitated, and they need to be back, able to get jobs. They shouldn't be being criminalised in the first place, and that's the bulk of the prison population. But I feel strongly about sex offenders and murders and stuff like that. They do need to be locked up. But you see people raping people and they get out after a couple of years, and the person who's dealing the drugs is getting 10, 20, 30 years. It's all upside down as far as I'm concerned. And something needs to be done about that. I think there's a lot of people in prison who shouldn't even be in prison. If they're a non-violent drug offender who's took drugs themselves, they're hurting inside, and then they're causing even more hurt to themselves. And what do we do? Throw them in prison where there's the most drugs, and they're just treated like animals, and it just makes the situation even worse. A lot of people like that shouldn't even be in prison. There's 2 million young people right now in this country who've got petty weed convictions and can't get back into the job market because people won't give them jobs, because on that box you have to tick you've got a criminal record. It shouldn't be like that. So the government needs to look at these policies, because the whole war on drugs is insane. If you make something illegal, the price of it goes up, and it's an incentive for people to produce it. Before drugs were illegal, all these drugs were available in pharmacies and stuff like that. Go back 100 years and all the drugs that are legal now were being prescribed to people like the royal family and Freud, and all these people were doing these drugs. But once they made them illegal, price went up, all the drugs got produced, flooded everywhere, and now we've got more young people, more people from every country doing more drugs than ever in the history of the world.
Lots of drugs.
Pardon?
Is that the aim of what we've said? Should they legalise more drugs that are currently illegal?
Making drugs illegal has caused all the drugs to be produced that's flooded the world, and people are doing drugs because of that. Because if you make something illegal, the price of it shoots up, and that makes people want to produce it. And the only people who can produce drugs are the criminal organisations. If you go back to Prohibition in America, where they made alcohol illegal, what happened? The mafia took over, alcohol production went off the scale, alcoholism went off the scale.
It made the Kennedys though, didn't it?
It made the Kennedys, yeah. They realised the mistake, and they made alcohol legal again. Alcohol is a drug, but then they made all these other drugs legal, and the same thing happened, but they've not reversed the mistake. I'm not saying just because drugs, let's make drugs legal and everyone go out and do drugs and have a good old time, because that's insane. What I'm saying is, government policies have caused all the current problems, the prison population to be what it is. Women didn't used to go to prison, and now the fastest growing population of prisoners is women, and it's because of drug crimes.
Would you say there's a conspiracy then to try and put as many people into the prison system then, because of what you were saying about the private prisons coming in?
Yeah.
Do you think that there's a conspiracy there to do that, or, you know, to build this like kind of empire?
Absolutely.
To make governments rich.
And they're boasting about it in their annual reports, because, you know, one of the things I studied was forensic accountancy, and I read annual reports, and I would go into the notes of the accounts, and I look at everything like X-ray vision. And Corrections Corporation of America, which is one of the big private prisons over there, you know, they do stuff worldwide, they're boasting in their annual reports of their shareholders, our profit growth is guaranteed because our recidivism is so high, reoffending. They're not correcting people, they're breaking them. And they're boasting to their shareholders that that's going to keep their profits growing.
But in a sense, it stands for the business model that's used by the UK in respect of drug enforcement. They, in some cases, target the lower end users to gain evidence to then build the case up to prosecute the middle tier managers and beyond, right?
Yeah.
And with the hope that someone will turn grass, but majority won't turn grass, majority won't even say who their supplier is. So they end up, with that previous caution, they end up prosecuted. Right?
Yeah.
But then at some point in time, evidentially, that might be used to gain a prosecution for a middle tier manager and above. Very rarely are we really hitting the main targets at the top.
They're all fall guys.
And it's a business model plus rehabilitation of the drug users that is so costly.
Yeah.
So again, it doesn't sit nicely with the model that's being run within this country. Yes, there is a vast amount spent on trying to turn people around from the kitchen, but I don't know what the measure of success is.
The taxpayers end up just footing the bill for it at the end of the day, and states like California are spending more on prisons than they are on education. And if you go way, way, way up the drug chain and you look back throughout history, governments are the biggest dealers of drugs. If you look at the opium wars, where the UK government, forced the Chinese to take opium, heroin, and they refused, and then they fought wars over it. And if you go back more recently to the stuff with the Taliban, you know, we were told that we were going in there to stop the opium plants, and now heroin is at, you know, it's all-time high out of Afghanistan. It's complete nonsense, and supposedly, you know, a lot of that money gets funneled through the banking system. They make money off it, and it's this. If you look at who owns the private prisons, they're 2/3 owned by the same banking system.
Would you say then that there's no real hope of stopping drugs going in and out of prison, that it actually is allowed to happen?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Because of the amount of people that still have